Hi, everyone. This is JJ, the co-founder of Good Pods. If you haven't heard of it yet, Good Pods is like Goodreads or Instagram, but for podcasts. It's new, it's social, it's different, and it's growing really fast. There are more than 2 million podcasts, and we know that it is impossible to figure out what to listen to. On Good Pods, you follow your friends and podcasters to see what they like. That is the number one way to discover new shows and episodes. You can find Good Pods on the web or download the app. Happy listening.
Hello, everybody. Let me ask you a question. When you were a kid, did you ever wonder what teachers talked about in the teacher's lounge?
You probably didn't miss much. It's usually boring stuff like grading papers, lesson planning, and then figuring out the new train schedule.
Train schedule?
Well, I teach in the city.
But sometimes, at one of the not-so-cool tables in the back of the teacher's lounge, you might find us, the Fandalorians, teachers by day, nerds by night.
My name is Mr. Richardson, and by day, Mr. McDonald, Mr. G, and I teach and inspire America's youth.
But by night, we debate, discuss, and argue about all things in the pop culture universe on our podcast.
We discuss all the biggest pop culture topics in the world, like Ozark, Stranger Things, The Marvelous Miss Maisel, Marvel, Star Wars, Top Gun Maverick, The Old Man, Bridgerton, you name it, we'll probably discuss it.
You guys watch Bridgerton?
Yo, season 1 of Bridgerton was awesome. You don't know what you're missing. Since we are teachers, you will always get a ton of background information about our topics and original teacher-themed segments, like our pop culture morning announcements, building meetings, and post-observation reviews of shows and movies. Oh, and arguing. You'll get lots of disagreements and arguing, like way more than I'm comfortable with.
You can find us wherever you listen to your podcasts. Just search for The Fandalorians, Teachers by Day, Nerds by Night.
Then join us every Monday as we look into the current state of fandom and pop culture.
Hey, look, the bell's about to ring. We need to head to the buses. Hopefully we'll see you guys soon.
Well, I mean, they're not going to see us because this is a podcast.
I know.
But they can't even see us when you think about it, so they won't see us either.
Oh my God, you know what I meant. It wasn't literal. Just ring the bell. Ring the bell.
The Fandalorians, Teachers by Day, Nerds by Night. I hope you listen and subscribe to us soon.
I hate you guys.
Welcome to Films and Fermentation, episode 127. That's right, we are Films and Fermentation, a movie and alcohol podcast. I'm Leo.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mike.
We're three friends who like to talk shit about movies while getting shit-faced. In this episode, this is the second Halloween-themed episode that we have this year. But in this episode, we are traveling back to the year 1987. We're celebrating Halloween 2023 with a deep dive into an oft-forgotten cult classic, and I use the term classic loosely, The Monster Squad.
It was a classic till we rewatched it.
Same thing.
This was on AFI's top 100 not to watch ever again.
This is how I felt about The Explorers when I did that on the first Films the Time Forgot episode.
Yeah, pretty much.
So don't forget you drop us an email, filmsandfermentation@gmail.com, or visit linktree.com/filmsandfermentation to find all of our social media and podcast links. Become part of the Films and Fermentation family by supporting us on Patreon or going to teespring.com to buy some of our merchandise. In fact, tonight, all three of us are sporting some of that merch. So those of you watching on YouTube can see it. We're each wearing a different colored version of our logo design t-shirt. We have t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, crop tops, tank tops, premium t-shirts, all available on our Teespring site. You can buy the shirts with our logos on them. We have shirts with our pretty faces on them. We have different sayings from the show, such as "you corned beef drinking motherfucker" that you can buy. We have some stickers. We have mouse pads. We have phone cases. We have mugs. Yes, it is a full-on merchandise store. So please drop by and buy some merch.
We
I'm
just don't
waiting for
have
the
hats.
thong.
Yes, we just don't have hats, but Mike can direct you to where he bought his hat from. All right. What are we drinking tonight, gentlemen?
I went
Ooh,
first last week. I'm
I'll
not going
go
first
first.
this week.
I'll go first. I'll go first. I'll do it. I'll do it.
Go
Do it.
ahead. All right.
Okay. Nothing big. I am drinking one of my J Smash's French cider house style apple ciders that I got from Massachusetts.
Very nice. Very nice.
Very good. You each tried it this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it. I was actually thinking of drinking it tonight, and then I went in a different route.
Mm-hmm. As did I. But I did enjoy it last week, and I like the one that had kind of a smoky flavor to it, like a campfire or something.
I think that was the regular, the American.
Mm-hmm.
I originally was going to do a cocktail because that's kind of my thing. I actually found a Monster Squad cocktail.
Did you?
It was 2 ingredients. I was like, nice, only 2 ingredients. But those ingredients were Jaeger and Monster Energy drink.
Oh!
And I said, listen,
Oh!
I enjoy a good cocktail, but I also don't have a death wish. So I decided to go simple tonight and just go fall themed and do a little pumpkin for the Halloween holiday. So I have a Crop Circle Pumpkin Ale from Great Barn Brewery.
Nice.
Which one of you got me this one? That was Kev. And then I have another one. If I get through this one, I have the Country Pumpkin Ale from Ithaca Brewery.
Nice.
Yep. And this is Kevin as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because this is when you went up to the Catskills, right?
Well, no. I went up to the Catskills in April, so they didn't have their pumpkin stuff. But no, that was just total wine and more. But I wanted to bring over pumpkin ones for you. I didn't think the great, what is it, Great Barn?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's up in New Hope, or at least I believe they have a brewery up in New Hope.
Great Barn Brewery is in Kittnerville, PA.
Kittnerville. Okay. Well, they definitely have a location or something in New Hope.
It says Pennsylvania farm grown and brewed, 8.5% alcohol by volume.
Nice.
Boy, I'm glad I don't have to drive to the Finger Lakes tomorrow.
I'm glad he doesn't have to edit this show tonight.
Yeah. Kev, what are you drinking tonight?
All right, guys. I got 2. I'm going to let you tell me, am I going bottle or can first?
Okay. Bottle.
Am I going bottle or can first?
Mike said can. I'll go can just because I don't want to have a hung jury here.
Okay. So my can tonight is a Allagash Haunted House.
Nice.
Hoppy dark ale. It's I love this. It's 6.66% alcohol by volume. And it says the Hoppy dark ale is cursed by our love of roasty porters. We summoned the recipe for Haunted House roasted barley. We summoned the recipe for Haunted House roasted barley and Black Prince malt cloak this ale in a gravely dark hue, hopped with Crystal Nugget, Cascade, and Northern Brewer. Its flavor is filled with it's filled with hauntingly balanced notes of coffee, malt, and devilish hints of hops. And I would have read that easier, except it's purple print on a purple can. Anyway, I'm starting with that, and then I'm going to move on to Elysian's Night Owl Pumpkin Ale.
Ooh, nice.
Yes, I figured, hauntingly good spirits tonight. So
sounds good, man. That's a cool that you found a beer called Haunted House. It fits perfect. Actually, probably would have fit better last week with the ghost episode, but
probably, but I didn't pick it up last week.
I'm wondering if it actually is 6.66% alcohol by volume, or if it's like underneath it in parentheses, it's like actually 6.5. But
We round up to 6.7.
Mm,
6.7. We rounded down.
yeah. We're joined tonight by a special guest, Funko Pop Leo, that my wife bought me for my birthday, which is this Saturday. He has a little Funko Pop version of me wearing a hoodie and jeans and white sneakers, holding a beer mug and a little PlayStation remote. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can see Funko Pop me, who looks creepily like Dante from Clerks.
Looks like you like 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's more like me when I was actually was a clerk. Like, all right.
Doesn't have as much white as you do now.
No, he doesn't have a beard at all. He just has a little tiny goatee.
Yeah.
She said there wasn't very many ways that you can like design it. So, Mike, anything special happened this week?
This week in film history. In 1978, Halloween, directed by John Carpenter, starring Donald Pleasance and Jamie Lee Curtis, and her film debut is released.
Yep, and we talked a little bit about Jamie Lee last week because I had The Fog on my list of ghost movies, and it was another one of her early films, another John Carpenter film. Yeah, she is the original Scream Queen.
In 1984, The Terminator, directed by James Cameron, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and Linda Hamilton, is released in the U.S.
Oh, so it's 6 years later. That's a pretty good release week, considering you had Halloween in '78 and Terminator in '84.
Mm-hmm.
And then
in 2015, Spectre, the 24th James Bond film, directed by Sam Mendes and starring Daniel Craig, premieres in London.
Spectre was the third one?
Second, Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
I think.
The first one was Casino Royale.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second one was Quantum of Solace. So I think this is the third
that's
one.
right. Third one then.
Yeah, this is the one I think that introduces us to Blofeld.
Yes.
And yeah, so I haven't seen this one. I actually kind of want to see it because Christoph Waltz is the villain in it. And I enjoy Christoph Waltz. And the last one you got there, Mike.
In 2022, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, has its world premiere in Hollywood. And I'm not going to go through the names because I'm going to butcher every one.
Do you need some help with that? It's Letitia Wright, Lupita Nyong'o, and Denai Guerrera. Not to mention Oscar nominee Angela Bassett.
Yes.
For Wakanda Forever.
I still have not watched this one yet.
I still haven't gotten through the whole thing yet. Like I keep like starting to watch it and like it's so depressed because like the whole opening sequence is the death of T'Challa. Which it comes from the real life death of Chadwick Boseman, and it's a real downer. It's like hard to get through. I definitely will watch it at some point, I'm sure, but yeah. Do you have a must-try beer or craft destination for us this evening?
I have a must-try beer. I have the Vienna-style lager from East Rock Brewing Company, New Haven, Connecticut. An old world-style malt-balanced lager. East Rock's version pours clear copper with toasted grain, caramel, and bread in the aroma. There's some good malt heft on the palate, especially for a beer that's only weighs in at 4.8% ABV, but it's very smooth going toward the finish. There you go. So, a nice lager from up in Connecticut.
All right. So that brings us to the hastily thrown together synopsis according to Glib. For those of you who want a little inside, behind the scenes of film and fermentation, I usually prepare the synopsis according to Glip during my note session during the week, and I forgot this week, and I was pretty busy. And Mike got to see where I get my Glip synopses from, which is a full page or two of synopsis of the episode that Glip gives us when after we're done recording, and I try to pick the highlights out. So this might not be the best Glip tonight because I hastily threw some highlights together during Mike's reading of this year in film history, or this day in film history. So let's see how it goes. Synopsis according to Glip, brought to you by Newsly.me. Newsly.me is an audio super app for iOS and Android that reads the news to you in a natural human voice. Stop scrolling, start listening. Go to Newsly.me today and put in the promo code NFerment to get your first month premium subscription for free. So here is our hastily thrown together Glip synopsis. Kevman got a rock. That sounds pretty good. And Mike got an Irish guy full accent at a brewery. Kevman tells their wife about the new beer and the taster cup. Kevman and Mike discuss the mugs and the handles. Kevman and Leo discuss the synopsis of the series and the project to get a premium subscription. Leo and Kevman discuss the birthday episode that was 124 and 125 episode of Films and Fermentation. Kevman and Mike discuss the ghost movie that was spoofed by an animated show. Mike is talking about the Christmas Carol, and Leo is discussing the Muppets version. Kevman and Leo discuss the different versions of The Conjuring and The Nun. Leo is not watching The Old Horns because it was not great, and Mike is the one who made the money for it. Leo and Mike are discussing ghost films and the translation of the title. Kevman and Leo discuss the movie and the title of the episode. Kevman is trying to find out where the Pumpkin Imperial Pumpkin Nail is available and wants to try it before Saturday. And that's what happens when I don't prep the synopsis according to Clip the week before, like I usually try to. So it was our ghost episode. We talked about our favorite ghost films. Mike's drink was served to him by an Irish guy who canned on demand, I believe, right at the brewery you went to.
Hands on demand.
Hands on demand.
Canned on demand. We talked about the synopsis of the House on Haunted Hill series, and the premium subscription thing was actually the reading of Newsly that I just did. We couldn't remember what our episode was the previous week. We kept thinking it was the birthday episode, but that was episode 124. Episode 125 was 2001 this year in film history. And then, we talked about ghost movies, spoofs of ghost movies. Christmas Carol was one of the movies we talked about. The Conjuring, The Nun were movies we talked about. I don't know what Leo is not watching The Old Horns because it was not great. And Mike is the one who made the money for it. That one has me lost. Like I have no idea what any of that is about. Translation of the title was the game we played at the end where I gave you the foreign translations of titles to movies.
Yep.
And then Kevin wanted to try the Pumpkin Imperial Pumpkin Ale before we got together on Saturday for our birthdays.
With caramel. That was it, yeah, right?
With caramel, yes.
Mm-hmm.
The caramel pumpkin ale from Southern Tier.
Yep.
And that was our hastily thrown together synopsis according to Glip.
So
we'll be back after a yeah, go ahead.
Speaking of Muppets, did you see the post I sent you guys?
Of
the Muppets remaking Rocky Horror Picture Show?
No, I don't remember that. Was it on Facebook?
I think it was on Facebook.
I'll have to check it out. I haven't been on Facebook in a little while. I've been, busy with all the other social media accounts that I'm handling. So I'll have to check that out later. I would love it if they did a Muppets Rocky Horror Picture Show. Damn it, Piggy, I love you. Who would be Frankenfurter?
They had a picture of somebody as Frankenfurter. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think they made the Muppets off of the characters, so it's not like Kermit and Piggy and everybody.
So it's like Muppets of the actual characters from Rocky Horror. See, I would rather have the actual Muppets doing it, because Kermit and Piggy would be Janet and what's the other guy's name, Brad or whatever it is.
Yes.
So who would Frankenfurter would be Gonzo. Kind of seems like the most likely one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm imagining Eddie, the motorcycle guy played by Meatloaf, would be Rolf.
Or animal.
Or animal. Animal would be
Or
better.
animal, yeah.
I think, let me guess, the guy that was talking, the man with no neck, would be Professor Honeydew.
Yeah. He just had Beaker in there for no reason other than to just meat bat him.
No, Beaker could be the stud guy that doesn't talk.
And then I guess Fozzie would be one of the servant people. It would have to be Fozzie, Janice. Throw Dr. Teeth in there somewhere. I should write about that to pitch this podcast, guys, instead of the Usual Suspects Muppets.
No, that's something we should recast.
What, Rocky Horror Picture Show?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that would be fucking insane. We'll have to save that one for a week where we have more time to prep.
Yeah.
All
That
right,
would
so
be
we're
fun.
gonna take a short break, and we'll be back after our short break, where we hear some messages from some of our podcast friends, and then we're gonna go to our main segment, which is a deep dive into the quote unquote cult classic, The Monster Squad from 1987.
Hey movie lovers, it's Jackson here from the Back to the Blockbuster podcast. If you've ever wanted to hear an amateur cinephile and an industry professional chat about film and television, then look no further, because every week my co-host Gaius and I, we bring you the latest industry news, break down the most recent trailers, try to beat the box office with our weekly predictions, and dive into our favorite movies on their anniversaries. And every second Friday, you can look forward to the Back to the Blockbuster spin-off, Deep Dives with Owen and Gaius, where the duo dissects a movie of their own choice. All this and more wherever you get your podcasts.
Urban legends, superstitions, and more.
So come join us as we go down the rabbit hole that is All Hallows Eve Podcast.
Listen and follow us at allhallowsevepodcast.com or your favorite podcast provider.
Stay spooky, my friends.
Hi, I'm Chris.
And I'm Deb.
And we host a pretty fun podcast called Today We Laughed and Learned. You know, this is where we discuss all the things we should have learned, but, well, never did. And we have quite a few laughs along the way.
Today we laughed and learned with Chris and Deb.
We're curious about everything. Experts on nothing.
Come find us wherever you get your podcasts.
Thank you for staying with us. We're going to be talking now about The Monster Squad, which came out in 1987. I'm going to stop here to play you a little trailer for The Monster Squad.
You know who to call when you have ghosts. But who do you call when you have monsters?
We're the Monster Squad. What's a squad? It's like Miami Vice, I think.
They're young and inexperienced.
Naughty virgin.
They're a bit disorganized.
Monsters are not real.
We don't know that, sir.
2,000-year-old dead guys do not get up and walk away by themselves.
But when strange things start happening in town...
There's a monster in my closet.
Ooh, look at that big, scary monster.
What's happening? You wait to kill a werewolf.
Silver bullet?
They're the only ones ready to do battle.
Something's out there that's killing people. And if it's monsters, nobody's gonna do a thing about it but us.
Soon the creatures of the night shall rule the world.
Real monsters? Us? Midnight. In the world, remember? Maybe we can be like Mask Squad instead, you know? 2 mask bombs.
We got 1035. Stick back up. Hurry
up! Or Nature Squad. The book was right. Don't you think it's all true?
By midnight,
You guys!
they won't seem so young anymore. The Monster Squad.
Wolfman's gone mad.
So the Monster Squad, the synopsis I got from IMDb for this is that a young group of young kids form a club that is devoted to monsters. Now, the appeal of this to me originally was that it's the Universal monsters that have a big part in this film. We did a whole recasting of the Universal monsters a couple Halloweens ago, so you should check that episode out. But in this film, the friends soon get more than they bargained for when Count Dracula adjourns to Earth, accompanied by Frankenstein's monster, the Wolfman, the Mummy, and the Gill-Man. Trivia, he's referred to as the Gill-Man in the film because they couldn't get the rights to the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Oh.
So he looks like the creature of the Black Lagoon with a little bit of like difference in the appearance, and they refer to him as the Gill-Man in the credits. The Uglies are in search of a powerful amulet that will grant them power to rule the world. Our heroes, the Monster Squad, are the only ones daring enough to stand up to them in this film against good versus classic baddies.
And again, they're the only ones who know of their existence.
I liked at the beginning
Again,
of this.
leads to a lot of the plot hole questions that I have in this. Go ahead, Mike. What were you saying?
I like the
Oh my
beginning
God,
of this, how
Michael.
it gives that little synopsis about Van Helsing and this, and again they blew it.
Yeah. Oh, that was the beginning. Yeah, the beginning is there's like the whole like read up
The scroll.
scroll like telling you about the history of it, and then at the end it says they blew it, and then cuts to that opening sequence of Van Helsing and everybody messing it up. Oh, that's another question I have. I should write that down now. I just thought of another question, and it has to do with the Van Helsing character, but we'll get to it. The movie, if you can call it that. So I think the best thing about this film is that it's only an hour and 19 minutes.
Yes.
Yes.
It's cut and dry, gets to the point, whatever the point was, and it's over. The film
Had
is
a riveting cast.
Yeah, the film is starring Andre
No one you'll
Gower.
ever hear of.
Yeah, Andre Gower as Sean. He's the main character of the film. His best friend Patrick, played by Robbie Kiger. Stephen Mock plays his father, Dell, who is a sheriff or detective in the town. Duncan Regar plays Count Dracula. Tom Noonan plays Frankenstein's monster. Tom Noonan is actually a name I've heard before, and he's been in other things. I think he's actually been a character actor in like Star Trek a little here and there too, like under makeup and stuff. Brent Chalum is Horace, or as they call him throughout the film, Fat Kid. Ryan Lambert is Rudy. Ashley Bank is Phoebe, the little girl. Mary Ellen Trainor is the only one who I kind of know a little bit more about from this film because she went on to be the psychiatrist in the Lethal Weapon films.
Yes.
And she plays the mom in the movie. Leonard Cimino is actually a really like long career as an actor playing a scary German guy. He was actually the Emperor in David Lynch's Dune. The man's had a really long career. John Greaves plays the desperate man who turns into the Wolfman. John Greaves, of course, is Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite.
He's also the guy that walks into the closet for what's that movie?
Weird Science.
No,
Not
Real
Weird
Genius.
Science. Real Genius.
Yeah, Real Genius. Stan Shaw is the Detective Saper, the partner to the father character. He's like the poor man's Keith David.
Mm-hmm. He's a Keith David stand-in for 80s movies.
Yeah. Then you got Lisa Fuller is Patrick's sister. I have a lot to say about her character, starting with the fact that in the credits, she doesn't have a name. She is Patrick's sister. And then, of course, the biggest star of them all, Jason Hervey as EJ, who go on to play Fred Savage's older brother in Wonder Years. That's your cast, folks. This is like a movie that wanted to be Goonies so bad.
Yeah.
And did not really reach the goal. Yeah. It's directed by Fred Decker, who really did not direct much in his career when I looked at his IMDb. The thing that shocked me the most about this is that it was written by Fred Decker, but also co-written by Shane Black. Shane Black is one of the most prolific writers in Hollywood over the last 30 years. I'm going to give you a list of some of the movies that he wrote, and this is off the top of my head. I'm not even looking at IMDb. He wrote Predator. He wrote Lethal Weapon 1, Lethal Weapon 2. He wrote The Nice Guys, which is one of my favorite movies of the last 10 years. The guy's written some really, really good scripts. I don't know how he got involved in this one. I mean, this guy is
Guilty Pleasure Project.
He's I don't know. I
Yeah,
have no
or
idea.
signed a commitment with the studio, and he just needed to throw something together real quick.
I'm gonna give you here's a synopsis of his writing career real quick. Lethal Weapon, The Monster Squad, Lethal Weapon 2, The Last Boy Scout, Lethal Weapon 3, The Last Action Hero, The Long Kiss Goodnight, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, Iron Man 3, The Nice Guys, Lethal Weapon, The Predator. I mean, he's he's been involved in a lot. He was actually in The Predator too as an actor. He was the guy with the big glasses who gets skinned alive at the beginning of the film.
Oh.
So it's kind of like odd that he was the writer on this film. It's definitely like, oh wait, it has award nominations. I gotta see what these are. So it won the Saturn Award for Best DVD Film Release in 2008. It was nominated for Saturn Award for Best Supporting Actor for Duncan Reeker, who played Dracula. Best Performance in the Saturn Awards for Andrew Gower, who was the star of the film. Nominee for Best Music, 1988 Saturn Award. And Best Costumes for the Saturn Awards. So it was basically the Saturn Awards.
Yes.
I don't even think it was that good enough to win the Saturn Award.
Mm-mm.
So yeah, that's your cast.
Well, at the time it might have been, but now that we go back and look at
it. Yeah, this is like a film that time forgot that we decided to rewatch because we hadn't seen it in a while. And much like some of the other movies that we've watched for our Film That Time Forgot segments, there was a reason we forgot about these films. So here's a little bit of trivia for you.
We had fond memories of this movie.
Yeah,
when we were kids, we were young and stupid, and this is a young and stupid movie.
I have fond memories of a lot of movies I watched as a kid, but it doesn't always translate to adulthood.
Exactly.
It's not like The Goonies. I could still rewatch The Goonies all the time. But it's not just because it was, a fun movie when I was a kid, but, it was co-directed, co-written, whatever you want to say, by Spielberg, so it has some depth to it.
This had no depth.
This had barely a plot. I'm still not sure what the monster's goal was. They never exclusively say they want to take over the world.
No.
And how did they end up in this little town, like out of nowhere anyway? And why is the amulet in this little town?
I
why?
don't know the amulet. They end up in the little town because the guy in the airplane pulled the lever and the Frankenstein monster fell into the swamp.
There's a lot.
Why was he on the plane in the first place? Where was he coming from?
Why did the box say Frankenstein on it? They're all nervous about the shit they're shipping. Just read the box. It's labeled Frankenstein. That should tell you a lot. So here's some trivia for you. According to director Fred Decker, Shane Black's first draft of the screenplay was so huge that the opening of the film featured Von Helsing accompanied by Zeppelins and hundreds of men on horseback storming Dracula's castle. Decker stated that this sequence would have cost more than the final budget of the actual film. Liam Neeson was paid for a bit part, but that part was never shot. So Liam Neeson made money off this film and never had to do a day of work.
Good for him.
Good job. The Wolfman's face was modeled after monster makeup artist Stan Winston.
Now, when watching this movie, the Wolfman special effects were sad. I mean, they were really sad.
It was definitely not. It was
special effects in this movie was really
He
sad.
couldn't turn his head.
It definitely
If you
was an
watch, he's
American
always-
Werewolf in London. Like, I wonder who did the special effects on this film, because it definitely wasn't Stan Winston.
Yeah.
Like, this is, like it was.
It wasn't Industrial Light and Magic either.
Yeah. It wasn't even like the transitions weren't even great. I think the best special effect was the Gill Man. He was like the only one that kind of looked kind of cool.
I will say, one that I thought was pretty cool was the kid in the leather jacket. Can't remember his name right now. Taking
Rudy.
Rudy, taking part of the mummy's wrappings, putting it onto a bow and arrow and shooting it, and just watching the mummy unravel.
And then the skull lands on the ground.
Yeah.
So basically, what was the mummy then? Just a fucking bag full of dust?
Apparently. Thought was.
Bag full of dust and half a skull.
And I want to know, and I know I'm kind of all over the place, how does
That's so the movie, don't worry about it.
How does Dracula acquire a hearse with a skull?
No. Right? Now you're going to, let's not go ahead. This is all in my notes that I took. I had the whole fucking page of questions, and believe me, it's in there. That is in there.
It's in there.
It is fucking in there. I moved on to the Country Pumpkin Ale from Ithaca. Much different taste than the other one. It's considered both
good, bad, and different.
The other one had a little bit more like a spice to it.
Mm-hmm.
This one's a little more bland.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Low ABV, I'm thinking.
Probably. Let me see here. Pumpkin ale. Just pouring it on myself.
Don't do that.
I can't find it. Doesn't say. I'm also like unable to see. Well, I'm pouring it on myself again.
Yeah, that 8.6% alcohol by volume went earlier really hit me hard.
Yeah. Good. I can hear Katie now. You smell like beer. Get out of here.
I can just look it up on Untappd.
Yeah, I could too, but why do that when I could just keep pouring it on my knee and my laptop? Luckily, I'm wearing.
I can already hear a synopsis according to Glip. Leo pours beer on his laptop.
Luckily, I'm wearing my Films and Fermentation T-shirt, which is very absorbent.
Yeah, like Charmin.
Yeah. All right. Where was I?
Country Pumpkin is 6.3%.
Okay.
And nothing was spilled.
Yeah. The scene where go ahead. I'm on the trivia. The scene where Dracula lifts the little girl Phoebe up and screams was done in one take. Duncan Rieger, who played who played the character Dracula, wouldn't wear his contacts or fangs around a 5-year-old actress because it scared her too much. But for this scene, director Fred Decker just told Ashley to scream once the platform raised her up to Rieger's face. Basically, what he did was he wore the contacts and the fangs for that take without telling her. So when he went there, like she actually got scared.
Oh, cool.
So to get the scene right, they actually traumatized the 5-year-old girl.
Oh, yeah,
let's see what else. Oh my God, there's 28 more facts.
We don't need that many.
According to director Fred Decker, the film was cut by 13 minutes because some executives didn't want it running longer than 90. That might have actually helped with some of the plot holes in the film. I bet you that 13 minutes explained the monster's motivation.
Why am I doing this? What's my motivation?
Yeah. Actor Brent Challam, who played Horace the Fat Kid, tragically died of pneumonia in 1997.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. He's in like his 20s. It's a shame. Due to licensing issues, the crew had to create characters that were suggestive, but not exact copies of the Universal iconic monsters. The challenge was to suggest these classic creatures without really copying them, because we didn't have permission or license to use specific images. So we could do a Gillman, for example, but couldn't make it look too much like the creature from the Black Lagoon. It was frustrating for us at first because, of course, we wanted to do the original designs, but we couldn't. We could only suggest these designs. So the Frankenstein monster looks a bit like the Karloff creature, but instead of bolts in the neck, he has bolts in his forehead. There was a certain percentage of changes we had to make to get away with legal copyright infringement. Let's see here. Wizard Magazine in 2006 ranked the 100 greatest villains of all time, and Duncan Rieger's Dracula was ranked number 30 on the list.
Oh, wow.
The magazine went out of business the next year.
Yeah. Well, when you call a 5-year-old girl a bitch, come on, you're really.
Andrew Gower, who played the main character, and Robbie Kiger, who played his best friend, were best friends in real life. Gower campaigned to producers to hire his best friend for the role of Patrick. See, Nepo baby stuff wasn't anything new. Ashley Bank, who played Phoebe in this film, the little girl, turned down a role in Fatal Attraction to do this film. I guess when you're 5 years old, you don't have too much of a regret.
No, I don't know how much say she had in it and her parents, you know?
Yeah. During the montage with the Monster Squad getting ready to stop Dracula, Sean points at where Shadowbrook Road is on the map to show his friend Patrick where the mansion Dracula is hiding out is. On the other side of the map, it says Cheney College as a location. This is an homage to actor Lon Chaney, who played the Wolfman in the original Universal film. Dustin Diamond, best known as Screech on Saved by the Bell, had a small role as a kid who tried to trade baseball cards with the boys, but that was later cut. Maybe that was the 13 minutes they cut out. It was 13 minutes of Screech. Has the same dead guys do not get up and walk away by themselves line, followed by a short dead guy walking down the street as the film Night of the Creeps that came out in 1986, which was also written and directed by Fred Decker. There is a poster for Return of the Living Dead visible on the wall of the clubhouse. Mary Ellen Trainor, who plays the mother of the lead siblings in this film, was also the mother of the lead children in The Goonies.
Oh, that's right. I thought she looked familiar.
Yeah, I knew she was the psychiatrist in Lethal Weapon, but I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
She's the typical go-to for 80s moms movies,
Ryan Lambert, who played Rudy, the kid in the leather jacket, is now an ordained Lutheran minister and officiated actor Fred Stallone's wedding. Let's see what the spoilers say for
The
this.
kid that was with the binoculars looking through the window of the girl getting changed is now a minister.
Yes.
Wasn't that one of the kid's sisters too?
Yeah, that was Patrick's sister, the best friend's sister. Yeah.
Okay.
It says it in the credits. Her character's name is Patrick's sister. So that was just a little bit.
She's not a virgin because Steven doesn't count.
Yeah.
I was going to say Patrick's best friend has his camera aimed at
his sister's
best
bedroom.
friend's sister's bedroom. Okay.
I have it in my notes. Don't worry. We're getting to it. I have a lot to say about this freaking movie.
All in the notes.
All in the notes. Let's look about the quotes here, because there actually are some funny quotes in the film. The most iconic one is probably, of course, gentlemen, what is it?
Wolfman's got nards.
Wolfman's got nards. Yeah.
Is she a virgin?
Yeah. Frankenstein's monster. Bogus. Hey, Rudy, I got a question for you. Shoot. You know any virgins? The little girl. It's Frankenstein, guys. He's our friend. Come on, guys. Don't be chicken shits. Scary German guy is bitching. You're not a virgin, are you? Patrick's sister shakes her head. No? What do you mean no? Well, Steve, but he doesn't count. Doesn't count. Creature stole my Twinkie. What else we got here? Give me the amulet, you bitch.
My name is Horace.
My name is Horace. If we pull this off, I'm gonna shit. Where am I supposed to find silver bullets? Kmart? Oh, here you go, Kev. You've seen you like where the mummy unraveling himself ends with the classic line, "See you later, Band-Aid breath."
That's an 80s insult if I ever heard one.
Oh man, this was nothing but an 80s trope all the way through.
Don't kick the church, it's religious. Locked is what it actually is. All right, then we're just gonna have to do this out here. Oh, real religious, Sean. Why don't we just do it at the Burger King? You're doing the ceremony at the end. Is she a virgin? She goes, yeah, she can do it. She can't read. She's 5.
I'll help her.
One of the things I read in the trivia for that was they made it purposeful so that when the teenage girl was reading the German, she was doing a poor job at it. But the 5-year-old girl was pronouncing the words perfect, as the German guy was telling her. So yeah, there's some fun shit in here. Let's do this now. Before I get to the best scenes and what aged the best and worst and overacting award for the film. Let me go through my notes because I know Kevin can't wait for this because he's got a lot to say about it, and so do I. And I'm sure you guys will both agree with some of the shit that I had questions about. So, the most important note, I think, my number one note that I took for this film: why is Dracula driving a car? Where did he get it from? Like, he's Dracula. Was that one of the things they changed to keep copyright out of it? Like, he drives the fucking earth around?
Well, you know what? They had to have hold on. They had to have one of the monsters drive it, and it couldn't be Wolfman because they already had that fucking debate earlier.
Yeah.
Wolfman can't drive.
Why did he have to drive? He's like, he turned to a bat and fly around town. He's driving a car. That just meant they didn't.
It's going to take him forever to get around town as a bat. Bats are just, they're not very quick animals.
All right, here you go. Here's my next question about Dracula. He's a fucking vampire. Why is dynamite his weapon of choice? He kills the one detective with a stick of dynamite. Why was the mummy in that little boy's closet?
How did it get there?
Why was it there? It just randomly shows up in his closet after a scene where he's talking with the other monsters about getting the amulet, and then he climbs out the window apparently when nobody's looking.
Because
he was just there.
Monsters live in little kids' closets. That's what it is.
No, that was a very pedophile adjacent scene there. It was a little weird. Uncle Rico is a werewolf? Question mark. Surprisingly frequent use of derogatory homosexual terms.
Yeah.
Oh yes. There's a lot of
especially at the beginning of the film.
Fag.
I know it was like kind of a staple of the 80s, but it kind of went overboard a little bit at the beginning of this film.
With Fat Kid and
Fat Kid and Herbie, Herbie from Wonder Years, calling him Fat Kid wasn't enough. They made him wear a muumuu throughout 90% of the fucking film too. And speaking of that, why in all these 80s films is the fat kid always the coward? I was a fat kid. I got involved in some dumb shit. I wasn't afraid of it.
Leave Chunk alone.
Yeah. Well, it was kind of like, so I'm thinking like the fat kids in movies. You have Chunk. He's kind of a coward.
Mm-hmm.
You got this kid who's kind of a coward. You got Jerry O'Connell's character in Stand By Me, who's the fat kid who was afraid of everything. And like, it's just like a trope of 80s films. You're fat, you're scared of everything.
That's because you can't outrun anything.
And speaking of the kid in the leather jacket, why does Dollar Store Charlie Sheen actually hang out with these kids?
Why does he look like a greaser?
Like Dollar Store Charlie Sheen.
I know why he hangs out with the kids. Because in their clubhouse, that window he looks through looks right at the girl as she's getting changed.
Yeah, but is everything else worth it for that?
Apparently for him it was.
I mean, I know back in 1987 we didn't have the internet. It wasn't like quick access to boobage, but like
voyeurism was his thing.
Yeah. I call him Dollar Store Charlie Sheen, that kid. How does Dracula know the kids have the book? At some point he
Dracula,
says,
he just does.
well, the kids have the book, get it from them, blah. But it's like, how did he know? I'm assuming it's part of the 13 minutes that the studio didn't want added to the film.
How did Dracula know that he had to jump out of the plane at that particular point in that particular time to make it where the book and the amulet were?
Yeah, exactly. And here's another thing too. The studio didn't want those 13. They cut 13 minutes because the studio didn't want the movie to be more than 90 minutes long. But when they add those 13 minutes in, the movie is 92 minutes. You mean 2 fucking minutes over 90 was too much? Like, I'm assuming there's a whole bunch of shit that happens in that 13. Because when you watch like deleted scenes on like a DVD, most of the time they're only like a minute long. But a lot of times they add shit to the film. I just watched the director's cut of The Martian the other night. It was fucking awesome. It was like a half hour's worth of shit that they didn't have in the original film. Give me the 13. I want the director's cut of The Monster Squad now.
Do you really want to go through that again?
No, it's the fucking beer talking that I just poured all over myself.
It's 13 more minutes of mindless,
I watched it today when I got home from work, and I missed the middle of it because I took a nap.
I didn't miss much. That was probably the montage sequence.
How'd they get the brides of the vampire brides?
Oh, that was a good segue, Mike, because my next point is sudden 80s montage with totally unrelated music in the background. The song had nothing to do with the movie or the montage that was
I
playing.
think it was Vanessa Williams' "Save the Best for Last," and that was what was playing.
Yeah. It was yeah.
But you have to have a music montage in an 80s movie. It's in their contract.
Why does the junior high shop class have fucking bullet molds? He melted down silverware and made silver bullets with a bullet mold.
Look, man, that shop class has been around since the 1930s. They had production issues.
No, you know what it is? Yeah, it was left over from their World War II supply when everybody was helping out with the war effort.
Yeah.
Silver bullet molds in the fucking shop class. Patrick is trying to get a naked picture from the monster of his sister. The monster has the sister's picture, and he's like holding it, and they're trying to get it out of his hand. My question is,
where Frankenstein was wearing sunglasses?
Yeah, my question is, why is Patrick okay with the other kids ogling and taking pictures of his sister, and why is he so excited to get his hands on that picture as well? Something weird in Patrick's family that's more horrible than monsters.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Moved on to Elysian Night Owl. Very good pumpkin ale.
Guess what? I'm not done. I got more. Here we go. Surprisingly extensive police force for what is a seemingly deserted town.
But all they do is try to hand fight the monsters.
Yeah, like
hand-to-hand combat, and got their asses kicked.
There's like 18 kids that go to the elementary school and like 6 adults in the whole town, but they have this really big police force that can handle like fucking Brooklyn.
Well, don't worry, because the army's not too far from the town.
Oh, don't worry. I got them in my notes too. Let's go to that one first. The army showed up? The kid wrote a letter. He wrote a letter that said, "Dear Army guys, monsters are attacking our town. We need your help. Love, Eugene." The army spent all of those taxpayer resources to show up.
There were tanks and cars, and
there were like special forces, black ops SEALs there. It was craziness.
Can somebody tell me what's going on here?
Anybody else a little uncomfortable with the sexual extorting of a 16-year-old girl in this film?
Not at that time.
Well, also the actress playing the girl was 21 years old, but like still, like there was a little bit of extortion going on there.
Virgins were big in the 80s.
Time, I was 13. Yeah, I didn't care.
Yeah, I was 10.
Virgins were big in the 80s.
Yeah, I'm missing something here. Hold on. Oh, dork and its many variations, such as the Wolfman's dork, or hey, have you ever been dorked? I don't remember using dork as a terminology for fucked in the 80s.
No.
Or for like genitals or something.
Or nads. Yeah. Or nads.
No, it was somebody who was weird, a nerd.
I remember using nards a lot, but that was only because I heard it in this film. Like kick him in the nards. But I've never said, hey, have you seen his dork? All right. Last one. Ready? I know you guys are going to be disappointed this is my last one, but here we go. The suddenly poignant World War II reference when they meet German guy for the first time.
Oh, the B-17 bomber?
No, so they're leaving, and the kid says, "Boy, you know a lot about monsters," and he's like, "I guess I do." And you see the concentration camp number on his arm, tattoo as he closing the door, and I went, in a movie like this, that's really out of place.
Yeah.
If the movie was a little more serious or actually had a plot.
But you know what? I feel like a lot of times in the 80s movies, they always had either a Jewish guy, an older Jewish guy, or an older German guy that had that number on there just to say that it was there.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but it's a kid's movie. They're not going to know what the hell that number meant. Adults will.
I mean, I guess like in the 80s, too, it wasn't so far gone. It was only,
40 years?
42 years from the end of World War II to this movie. So I guess it was still kind of fresh at that point. It just seemed a little out of place at the time. I don't know. And I'm
just
going
saying,
to add
in the
one more to
80s, they
this.
did it a lot.
I'm going to add one more to this. Von Helsing
Go ahead.
appears at
He
the
comes
end.
out of the portal and grabs Dracula?
Grabs Dracula and pulls him into the portal. Hasn't aged a bit. Is there
Because
like
they're in limbo.
I was going to say,
There's
is there
no
like a time space continuing thing going
There's
on
no
there?
time in limbo.
No time in limbo. So that was just my notes. Anybody else have any notes about this film?
You've covered a lot of the ones. I mean, I really just. Why was Gilman in that same small town?
I didn't spend as much time like thinking about Seven when I watched it for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a movie you got to think about. I put fucking thought into this film, and the film itself had no thought put into it.
Look at this one. How about the typical 80s trope of the end song talking about the movie in a rap style?
I forgot. Fuck, I forgot to put that in my notes. The rap song.
About the movie.
The 80s theme song rap that is about the movie, yeah. Monster
You mean
Squad
like,
is here to play. They're going to fight the monsters in their own way. It was like that very generic rap beat.
It's like what they did with Ghostbusters 2, right? Wasn't there?
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. Oh, I do have it in my notes. We'll get to that. I have it in like my what's aged the worst for me. So here we go. What is your favorite scene, or do you have a favorite scene? I do have some scenes that I like. I thought the final confrontation was kind of fun. You know, where they're fighting the monsters in the town square. I thought like the way he kills the vampire women and all that was pretty cool. Horace killing the Gill Man and doing the whole "my name is Horace" thing was fun. I mean, that was a very 80s thing to do, but it was fun. I liked the Wolfman's death because it was that whole he shot him and he was like "thank you" kind of thing, which was a very tropish Wolfman, thing.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of cool. So as much as they could, they paid respect to the old Universal films without totally ripping them off.
Now, there's actually one thing I'm confused about near the end.
Just one thing.
Why did Dracula grab the lead kid before?
I'm sorry. I just thought of like Clue for a second there. You're like, there's just one thing I don't understand. One thing.
Okay. This thing I don't understand. At the end, Dracula's being pulled into this vortex, and he goes up and goes to the main kid and goes to the dad, mine, and they start dragging off. Why?
I think it was just revenge because the kid got the better of him. He was going to drag him into limbo with him. Kev, did you have a favorite scene at all?
Yeah, it expressed the mummy.
The mummy, the mummy scene.
The mummy, yeah, mummy being pulled.
Kevin's favorite part of the film was at the very end of the credits where it said, "This is a work of fiction." No.
It was very, very 80s tropey, and yeah.
And I really in a weird way, I do kind of want to see the 13 minutes that were cut out of this film, and just see if it improves it. And like, if you could just give 2 minutes where the monsters tell me what their motivation is, it might make it a slightly better film.
Does monsters need motivation?
Yes,
They're
because
monsters.
I want to know why they went from like Transylvania to this small little town. How did the amulet get there? How did Dracula know it was there? Like, it was
How did Wolfman get there?
Yeah, like it's just craziness. And then I felt like Frankenstein went from doing Dracula's bidding to befriending these kids really quick.
Oh yeah, instantly.
It is only 90 minutes long. This movie.
No.
Okay, come on.
Not even. It's 79 minutes. Remember, it wasn't allowed to be more than 90.
Yeah. So they had to do that quick.
The scene where she meets the monster is a little trivia there too, because it plays back to the original Frankenstein film. Yeah. Except in that one, he drowns the little girl. So this one is like the happy version of it, What aged the best? Honestly, the only thing I think that aged well in this to me was the Universal monster movie tropes. Just how like timeless those monster tropes are, because it's like even though they were supposed to be changed slightly to avoid infringement, you still knew it was Dracula and monster and the Wolfman and all that shit. So I thought that kind of, and Wolfman's got Nards aged as well.
Yes.
I would say Ashley
What?
Banks aged the best.
Ashley Banks aged the best.
Mm-hmm.
She was the little
You should
girl.
see pictures of her now, yeah.
Oh, Phoebe? Yeah, I did see pictures of her.
Mhm.
She's cute now.
She's cute.
I can tell you what aged the worst.
Hmm.
The special effects.
Yeah.
I gotta look up real quick who the special effects person was, because it definitely wasn't Stan Winston or Rick Baker or
Because
anybody
every
like
time
that.
the vortex came up and things were getting sucked into it, I'm going, did they steal that from the Wizard of Oz? All the shit flying?
Let's see here.
It's the Bubba FX team.
Art department, sound department, special effects. Stan Winston Studios. Get the fuck out of here.
Nah.
It must have been like their like fucking intern team. I can't believe that's Stan Winston. I mean, they said the Wolfman's face is based on his face, but still. For me, what aged the worst, I wrote everything else aged the worst, especially the rap song at the end, which sounds like it was written by Gilbert and Lewis from Revenge of the Nerds. Clap your hands, everybody. And everybody clap your hands. All right. The last thing I have here is the overacting award. So you can tell me what you think, but here's what I think. The runner-up for the overacting award goes to the kids themselves. John Grease as the human form of the Wolfman when he's going apeshit in the station trying to get them to like lock him up and stuff. But for me, the winner of the overacting award in this film goes to Stan Shaw, aka Poor Man's Keith David, as the father's detective partner, who constantly says throughout the film, I'm just a good policeman or I'm a good detective, and then forgets how to open a fucking door when a piece of dynamite gets thrown under the car. He's the only character who dies in the film, too. Like, from the good guy's side. Always got to be the black man. I don't understand why. And he's just over the top in most of the scenes that he's in.
Mm-hmm.
But if you guys have anything you want to add to that.
Like when he's talking to the guard about the mummy missing.
Well,
yeah. I'm stumped.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. We might as well quit.
Why are they investigating that too? Like, don't they have like less? I mean, that's a big ass police force. Don't they have like guys that aren't as important as them to do that? My man's marriage is in danger because he's investigating a missing mummy.
I gotta go. You don't understand. And then he comes back, still doesn't hang out with his wife, sits on the roof and watches a drive-in movie with his kid.
I did like the scene with him and the kid earlier where the kid's talking about the movie and he's like, it's Groundhog Day Part 12. The killer comes back and he's like, I thought he died in the last film. Yeah, but they bring him back to life because they always bring him back to life. They can chop him up, put his head in a blender, cut him into tiny pieces and mail him to Siberia and they'll still find a way to come back. And the kid goes, that's what happened in Part 7. So, I mean, it had some fun moments. I did enjoy rewatching it in the sense that I remembered like as a kid watching it and like, it was one of those movies that repeated a lot for me. So it was like fun in that respect, but from like a cinephile perspective, and this is coming from somebody who watches a lot of bad shit. Like I just told you guys earlier, I watched a movie called Slaughterhouse earlier this week about a killer sloth. So I do watch bad shit. This was
fast-paced action movie.
Yeah, this was rough. I did watch this, and then I did watch The Martian afterwards, just to kind of like cleanse my palate. Because I downloaded the director's cut and I wanted to watch it. So it's like, I think I might have to watch Shawshank again just to.
Jesus.
So anybody have any final things you want to say about this film, or are we done like torturing ourselves with it this evening?
I think we're done torturing ourselves. I'm sorry, guys. I brought this back into our life. This is my idea.
No, I mean I enjoyed it for what it was, and I enjoyed like thinking about the first time I saw it as a kid and how into it I was. But upon rewatching it, it was like, especially since doing this podcast, I feel like I've been a little more critical in how I watch films sometimes. And it's like, this is not the film you want to overly be critical about when you're watching it.
Don't expect an Academy Award winner.
No, this is a film I should have
Only
drank. I
Saturn.
should have drank those 2 beers and poured them all over myself and then watched this film. So, Mike, you have any beer trivia or history for us this evening?
I have some beer history. IPA, still the most popular U.S. craft ale, was a British invention. As legend has it, brewers in Burton-on-Trent recognized that the barrels of pale ale they were shipping to the British troops in India would need lots of amounts of hops. Hops served as a preservative that would keep the beer fresh during the long, warm journey, and they added extra alcohol to the brew. It wasn't until West Coast style IPAs from the U.S. arrived, however, that IPA really made its mark on the world. There you go. We can blame the British
Thank you
for IPAs.
How are our drinks this evening? Mine both tasted good and were refreshing when I poured on myself.
Mine was quite tasty.
The haunted house was okay, but not so flavorful, or at least not holiday flavorful. The Elysian Night Owl is very flavorful. Lots of good flavor.
Flavor. So yeah, I had the first one I had was the crop circle one, which I really liked. It had a little bit of spice to it. And the second one is the country pumpkin from Ithaca, which is a little more plain and a little bit more on the bitter side than the previous one. All right. So thank you for joining us tonight for episode 127, a look back at the cult classic film, The Monster Squad. We hope you enjoyed listening to this podcast as much as we enjoyed recording it for you. Don't forget, you can email us at filmsandfermentation@gmail.com or visit linktree.com/filmsandfermentation to find all of our social media and podcast links. Become part of the Films and Fermentation family by supporting us on Patreon or going to teespring.com to buy this nifty merchandise that we are modeling for you this evening. Don't forget to stop by the crossroads between pickled and fermented. Next episode 128, we're going to be looking at film plot holes. We're calling this one Crawling Our Way Out of the Plot Holes. Or at least that's what I'm calling it.
So we're going to talk about DC movies.
That's what I'm calling it until I think of something better. I'm sure we can put Monster Squad on this list.
Oh, absolutely.
We can do a second week of Monster Squad. All right, I'm Leo.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mike.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Cheers. We'll see you next time.
Cheers.
Cheers. Okay.
So Kevin and I were talking about how I just recently watched a movie called Slaughterhouse, which is about a killer sloth.
Oh, Jesus.
Kind of like in the Cocaine Bear vein, but not as good. And I said I actually fast forwarded it through half the film because it was so bad, and I still knew what the hell was going on at the end of it. And we were talking about other crazy films like Zombiever and shit like that. And Kevin pointed out a movie called Ginger Dead Man. Ginger Dead Man stars Gary Busey, and not coherent Gary Busey, like post-accident and drug-addled Gary Busey, doing the voice of the Ginger Dead Man. My buddy Brooks went to a horror convention one time, and Gary Busey was there signing autographs. And he overheard him say to his manager, "Why is everybody asking me to sign this fucking Gingerbread Man movie?" He didn't know he starred in that film. He totally forgot that he did voice work for that movie.
So, did you guys see the news clip about the 4th grade teacher that showed poo, blood, and honey to her class?
That's awesome.
No, I missed that one.
Yeah, it's out there.
That's awesome. I have to look for that, man. She must have thought it was like a Winnie the Pooh film and not realized it.
Yeah, I don't think she has her job
It's
anymore.
called Winnie the Pooh: Blood and Honey. Like, what the fuck do you think it's going to be about?
It's out there. I don't think she has a job anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't either. I would... So Kevin and I were talking a little bit about like.
Oh well, it's a Florida teacher. Come on, Mike.
Well, now that means she got a raise.
Says here they're putting her into an admin position.
Yeah, probably. She'll be the superintendent in 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Did he? Because I rewatched it and I hate it.
See the same experience I had.
Oh man, it's so bad.
I didn't hate it, but I was like, man,
it's 80s cheesy.
Some dumb shit when I was a kid.
Yeah,
that's right. Aside from like what I put in the notes about it, like the synopsis and the trivia and all that shit, I have a whole page of notes. Like I had said to you guys in the text the other day, like I have more notes for Monster Squad than I had for Godfather. Like just questions I had.
Yeah, it's got more plot holes than a interdimensional portal that opens up from a German virgin reading something.
Yeah.
And Megan hasn't gotten me any games yet, and that's okay because I can buy the games. I mean, the PS5 was expensive enough, but I know a couple that I want to get, but I'm going to need to build my collection.
You got a PS5 for your birthday. I got a Funko Pop of myself.
I like it though. That is clever.
He's got a beer in one hand and a PlayStation remote in the other. As he looks kind of like Dante from Clerks.
He does a little bit.
All right. So I just picked out a few things just to go real quick with it for the glip because I forgot to do it. We got enough else to do. So, all right. I am ready people our shit. Yeah, I know. I keep copying it over, and I keep forgetting to take it out.
Are they all slightly a different color?
What?
The shirts?
Yeah, mine is black. Kevin's is gray. Yours is like a greenish color.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't want them all to be the same exact thing. So.
Mm-hmm. Then we just look like assholes. Now we look like we're promoting our show.
Now we just look
like assholes who are promoting our show.
I think we should walk into a brewery, all of us with this shirt.
I should have got like something different for each of us because we have tank tops and sweatshirts and hoodies and stickers.
Yeah,
and
let's all
I'd like
of
to
us
see Mike
wear
in the tank top.
We should all wear the tank top or the crop top. I got crop tops on there too.
Oh yeah, the crop top.
I'm ready then.
All right, guys, if you could just hold on for a minute, I gotta go run and take a shit.
Yeah. We'll be done the intro portion of the show, I guess, by the time you come back, and we just go right into the main segment with you.